Hi, I'm Yoliswa, a pre-service teacher in South Africa, and today this is the first episode of Teaching with Yoli. Now you may be wondering what exactly we're learning about. Well, today we're going to learn how to teach using simulation. Now I know, you know, and I know that you can teach using simulation. What if I told you that you can actually create your own simulation using AI? Hmm. I'm going to show you how I did it, right? So, I created my own simulation AIs to develop a simulation currently suited for a topic I want to teach. So the topic I chose was solids, liquids, and gases, specifically grade 6, right? And this is where you get to explore solids and how they fixed, right? In a container, they in fixed shape. Liquids, how they take a shape of a container, and gases, how they move vigorously, right? And do not take a shape at all. So I'm going to show you. In South Africa, we use a CAPS document in public schools, right? In private schools, they have their own curriculum, but the curriculum that we use is CAPS document. And I'm going to show you an example of how a CAPS document looks like before I dwell into the simulation. So I will just show you how it looks like over here. Just bear with me. There we go. So here we have our topics, solids, liquids, and gases, right? And it already tells you the concepts and the content they must be taught. For example, in all matter, it's made up of particles and also explains how they're closely packed in a regular shape, the liquids, how they're not in a fixed pattern, but they do take a shape of a container and are small but can move past each other. And then we have gases where the particles are far apart from each other and the particles are like huge, right? They move in different directions. So what I did is that I told the app that I used is called AI, right? So as you can see here, the simulation I made is called Matter and Materials Virtual Lab. Scary, very scary. So what I did is that I had a prompt, right? And I told Code AI to develop an interactive, colorful, and fun virtual simulation for grade sixes. The reason why I said a virtual lab, majority of schools that are in South Africa range from quintile 1 to quintile 3, meaning they do not have access to basic needs in schools. This not only includes books and stationery, but it really does go to an extent where schools don't have or do not use computer labs, they do not use science labs, and they don't have access to technology. Now, this simulation kind of fills that gap, right? Because in the simulation that I made, it now acts as a virtual lab where learners can start learning through experiences. This is one of the specific aims of the CAPS document where we learn science by doing, right? So, as you can see here, it says grade 6 CAPS particle behavior investigation. In this, let me just make this smaller, right? So, in this virtual lab, as you can see here, we have our own virtual lab assistant. Her name is Dr. Mpho, right? And Dr. Mpho is a virtual lab assistant who not only facilitates the lesson, but also gets to show learners or make them create a curiosity of wanting to learn. That's what I love about this app, this simulation, is that it's tailored according to learners' background experience, specifically in South Africa, because if you teach something they don't know, they don't understand. So this, what we have here, we have the temperature control. So here we get to control the temperature. This is where also they record the observation. This is really important for virtual lab. You have to record your findings. And then we have our notebook and also our quiz. But this is something I am going to show you a bit later on during our presentation, right? So here I've already decreased my temperature control, and look, says Dr. Mpho, look at those particles. they are packed tightly together like people in a taxi queue. Sounds so South African. They can only vibrate in place just like ice cubes in your freezer. So that is why I say it accommodates able resource classrooms. It not only makes science fun and meaningful, it actually makes it more relatable. So that is how, as a teacher, you can use AI to develop a simulation tailored to your lesson plan. So it does not mix up everything. The only thing you can do as a teacher is just to facilitate, right? So as you can see here, the particles are moving kind of slow because they're in a fixed position. That already shows you how slow it's are. Now I'm going to increase the temperature, right? As I increase, would you look at that? The particles are moving a bit vigorously. There goes Dr. Paul again, right? Wow. The particles are moving freely now, like dancers at a wedding. They can slide past each other but stay close together, just like water in a glass. So, what I like about this virtual lab is that it really makes learning in our real life expectations. That is why in my prompt here, as I also said, it should be interactive and colorful, but I also said that the design must be CAPS aligned. It must have an inquiry, right? It must foster high order thinking. This is very important. And this lab creates curiosity. Learners want to know, man, what are solids? What are liquids? What are gases? And this is what this simulation is there for. Now, as a teacher, you're wondering, how will I know if my learners know what's being taught? This is where we have our own quiz, right? So our quiz over here, you can already see. I'm just going to zoom out a bit so that I can show you the full thing. Yes. So this is a knowledge check quiz. So this is to check the learner's understanding, especially the knowledge on the solids, liquid, and gases. So solids and liquids or the simulation kind of backs up what you teach in class. So if you told using clay to demonstrate solids, liquid, and gases, this app currently backs up what you have taught. So it asks you, for example, when you heat ice cubes, what happens to the particles? In which state do particles have the most energy? So not only does it ask quizzes, but it also creates more high order thinking, as if it's moving through a Bloom taxonomy based on their background knowledge. So yes. Okay, I didn't answer any question, but you get the idea, right? So this is how we as 21st century teachers, how we can actually change and transform learning. We can use AI to work with us in it work and foster learning in a way that is meaningful, that is fun, And not only that, the quizzes that are made here are connected to Google Classroom. So when you submit your quiz, it automatically already submits to Google Classroom, and the teacher already can see the progress of the learners. That is why I say, if we can use textbooks to teach, how much more can we do through innovative thinking on how to come up with new ways to teach? Well, I guess this is it from me, guys. I hope you have enjoyed this as much as I did. Please